Hello everyone, happy Sunday and welcome back to Clues by Sam. We have an evil one today and I saw that Games by Sam posted about this possibly being the hardest daily one ever posted, so I'm really excited for this. And if you don't know what Clues by Sam is, it is a daily clue logic puzzle game where you have 20 people on a board, each of them may be a criminal or an innocent, and they give you clues to help you figure out what each person is. And if you do by chance want to play the game before watching, there is a link in the description, so good luck with that. But if you just want to follow along, then just start right now. We start with Olive telling us that both criminals below Gus are connected. Well, we have Gus here, and there's 4 people below him, 2 criminals. One of them is Olive, who is giving us a clue, and she is already a innocent. So Kay couldn't be a criminal, otherwise she wouldn't be connected with any other criminals that are below Gus. So Kay is for sure an innocent, and the other 2 are for sure criminals, and we don't need Olive's clue anymore. Now, Uma tells us that column A has more criminals than any other column. Well, column A doesn't have anyone assigned yet, and column D has 2 criminals, so we know that column A has to have at least 3 criminals to have more than what column D currently has. So let's keep that in mind, but we still don't know about any of the people here. Now Zed tells us that all criminals in column A are connected. So since we know that column A has 5 people, and 3 of them at least have to be criminals, we know that Logan has to be a criminal. Because let's just imagine that, well, there's no way for 3 people to be connected and criminals if Logan isn't involved. Like, let's say that Pam and Vince are criminals. Then if Hall is a criminal, Logan is separating the criminals. And if the same thing for Amy and Hall, if both of them are criminals and someone else down here is a criminal as well, Logan will be separating them. So Logan for sure has to be a criminal in this scenario. But we still don't know anything else about the people in that column. I'm gonna have to be right back. I'm back. Let's continue. Now, where were we? 3 people. And Logan now tells us that only one of the 5 innocents on the edges is Chloe's neighbor. Chloe has 3 people neighboring her on the edges, so that's Amy, Deborah, and Hall. Only one of them is an innocent, and we also know that there's 5 people on the edges who are innocents. 2 of them are Kay and Olive, so let's keep that in mind. But the important thing here is that only one of these people is an innocent. Could it be Hall? No way. Because if Hall is an innocent, then we know for sure that Amy has to be a criminal since she is on the edge and neighbors Chloe, and that will mean that the criminals in column A are separated. So Hall for sure has to be a criminal. We don't know about the others yet, because Amy could very well be an innocent. She wouldn't be separating anyone in column A, but only one of them can be an innocent. So let's keep that in mind as well. Almost said that Pam had to be a criminal because of the 3 criminals rule, but we don't know about Amy yet, so mistake avoided there. Let's go back to column A has more criminals than any other column. Can we think about Gus being a criminal or an innocent? Let's say that I'm nervous because this is evil. Let's say that Gus, because now we know that, let me try to be comprehensive here. We have 3 innocents on the edges already now. Kay, Olive, and either Deborah or Amy are gonna be an innocent, so that's 3 total. We have 2 more to figure out. Let's say that Pam is an innocent. Then Vance has to be one for sure. Could that work? It could if Amy were to be an innocent. But important thing In this situation, Gus would have to be an innocent as well. Why? Because now column A can only have 3 criminals at most if Amy were to be a criminal. And column D already has 2. So if Gus were to be a criminal here, with both Pam and Vince, then both columns would have the same number of people being criminals. But what happens if Gus is an innocent? We have more innocents on the edges than we should. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And either Deborah or Amy, that's 6. We can only have 5 total. So Gus couldn't be an innocent. So what do we know? That Pam can't be a criminal, because if she is, then Vince has to be for sure. And that breaks the column A and column D one more than the other scenario. So Pam has to be a criminal as well. So I was right with Pam being a criminal. It was a hunch, but I was right. Now Pam tells us that only one of the 3 innocents neighboring K is in column C. Okay, in column C, K has Deborah, Jason, and Noah being her neighbors. But only one of them is going to be an innocent. The second one is Olive, who is already an innocent, but where could the third one be? It can only be Gus. So Gus is, in the end, an innocent, like we said before. Which means that it's possible that both Amy and Vince are innocents. That will be a correct total. Now Gus tells us that all criminals in column B are connected. Column B, not row 2, column B. Column B has all criminals in column B connected. Okay. What does that tell us? Column B, same as column A, has 5 people. Wouldn't you know? And it has to have less criminals than column A. Since we know that column A has 3, but it could have 4. It could have 5. What does that tell us? That column A could at most have 5 criminal people. In that case, column B would still have to have at least 1 innocent. How does that work? If all of the criminals in column B are connected, then at least one of those innocents, one of the innocents in column B is going to have to be on the edge. If there's only 1 innocent on the edge, it has to be, or if there's only 1 innocent on the column, it has to be on the edge. If there's more than 1 innocent on the column, then it has to start on the edge, because all of the criminals have to be connected. Right? Does that make sense? Or am I being crazy? Because I feel like I jumped on that with such confidence. So let me try to prove it. Let's say that Maria is an innocent. I guess what we're trying to prove is that if there are 2 innocents in column B, we can't have both of them be on the edges. Unless everyone in column B is innocent. Which could happen. I guess the clue does imply that there are criminals in column B by saying that all criminals are connected. And it's also implying that there are at least 2 criminals, right? Because if they are connected, then there has to be at least 2 to be connected. Oh, and also now we know that column D has only 2 innocents, so column A could have only 3 criminals. Only 2 criminals in column D. Oh my god, how can I still switch those up? So what do we do? we have 4 innocents now, right? That's 1, 2, 3. Plus either Deborah or Amy, that's 4. Let me think about Vance for once. If Vance is an innocent, then there's no way for column B to have an innocent. Because if Vance is an innocent, there can be no other innocents on the edges. Wanda couldn't be an innocent. Chloe couldn't be an innocent. And now, how are all criminals in column B going to be connected? They can't. Column B has to have at least an innocent, since column A has to have more than column B. And in this case, since Vance is an innocent, column B has to have at least 2 innocents. So that will make it so that there's 2 groups or maybe 3 groups of innocents in column B. So Vince can't be an innocent because it will break the more than the column A has more than column B rule. Yeah. I was sure that, but I didn't know if I was looking at the right place. Good. So now Vince tells us that Sue has exactly 2 innocent neighbors. Or Sue. Sue is here. And she already has 1 innocent neighbor who's Olive. So she has to have 1 more innocent neighbor. Can that neighbor be in column B? It could if it was Wanda. But then nobody else in column B could be an innocent. Because Sue couldn't have any more innocent neighbors in column B. So both Ronald and Maria would have to be criminals. And since all criminals in column B have to be connected, then both Isaac and Chloe have to be criminals. And that will make it so Amy has to be a criminal, because column A has to have more criminals than column B. And the only way for that to happen is by column A having all people be criminals. And if Amy is a criminal, then Deborah is an innocent. And if Deborah is an innocent, then Kay cannot have any more innocent neighbors. So both Jason and Noah are criminal. And since Sue has all of the innocent neighbors that she could, then Xavier would have to be a criminal as well. But that works. No breakages of rules up until now. Now, could Wanda be a criminal? I guess there's no reason why she couldn't if Chloe is an innocent. Because still there has to be 5 innocents on the edges, right? So that would be 4. Chloe will be the 5th one, so Xavier would have to be a criminal. And Sue's second neighbor could be any one of these people. It would have to be someone here. Or would it? Could it be Noah? It could. If Deborah were a criminal. Yeah. But it couldn't be Ronald. Because if Ronald is an innocent, But we know that all criminals in column B are connected, and in column B, Sue couldn't have any more innocent neighbors, then Wanda and Maria would have to be both criminals and they will be separated, so Ronald has to be a criminal. Good. Now Ronald tells us that there's an equal number of criminals in columns B and C. That's interesting because let's say that Wanda, what we were talking about before, let's say that Wanda is an innocent. How many were there in that scenario? I don't remember. But if Wanda is innocent, we know that Chloe has to be a criminal and all of these people as well. Let me use the lower text to simulate scenarios so that we don't get confused here. Now Amy has to be a criminal because column B has 4 criminals and column A has to have more than that, so Amy has to be a criminal, and because of Amy, Deborah has to be an innocent. Now now that's okay, both Jason and Noah have to be criminals because Deborah is the third innocent neighbor for Kate. And both Sue and Xavier have to be criminals as well. And both column B and column C have the same number of criminals, and column A has more than both of them. Perfect scenario, we solved the whole puzzle. But what if Chloe... Oops. What if Wanda is a criminal and Chloe is innocent? Should I be looking at this? I don't know. I don't know. Now nobody else on the edges can be an innocent because we have our 5. So Xavier has to be a criminal. Oh, I should be using the lower text like I said. Sorry. I can't do it. Xavier then has to be a criminal as well because we have our 5 innocents on the edges. Okay? You following? Now Sue has to have one innocent neighbor here, who's either gonna be Maria or Noah. If it were Maria, lower tag, Isaac would have to be an innocent as well. Is there a way in the scenario for column C to have 3 innocents? There isn't. Because Jason, there's gonna be 2 criminals here for sure. There can only be 1 innocent here. And the only other person that could be an innocent would be Sue, but that would total 2. So that will break column B and column C being the same number of criminals. So it couldn't be Maria. Lower tag. Could it be Noah? It could. How? Now both Jason and Deborah are criminals. And it doesn't matter what Isaac or Sue are. Nah, Sue has to be a criminal or an innocent. That's 2 innocents. Isaac, yeah, it doesn't really matter what each one of them are. Ah, it does, because Deborah is a criminal, so now Amy has to be an innocent. So both Isaac and Sue would have to be innocents as well. But that works, both of them have 3 criminals, which is possible. There's only 5 innocents on the edges. And 3 criminals is less than 4 criminals. So the scenario works as well. So Wanda could be either an innocent or a criminal. So what do we know now? Do we know that Xavier couldn't be an innocent? I guess so, because if Xavier is an innocent, Chloe would have to be an innocent as well, because Wanda couldn't be. And we know that column B has to have at least 1 innocent. Now Maria and Noah both have to be criminals. Deborah couldn't be an innocent? Oh, she could. Couldn't she? Because if she is an innocent, Isaac could be an innocent, and then both columns would have the same number of innocents. And column A would have 5 criminals, which is more than 3 criminals. So Xavier could be an innocent. That's what we discovered. Could Xavier be a criminal then? Resetting the text is a bit annoying. Could Xavier be a criminal? And Wanda be a criminal? And Chloe be an innocent? Now Sue has to have... Oh, we did this scenario before, right? When we were testing Wanda and Chloe. So now it's Noah who has to be an innocent. And then these two are going to be criminals. And now Sue and Isaac have to be innocents. Is there a way for Sue to be a criminal? Have I looked into that? Could Sue be a criminal? I don't remember if she was a criminal before. Sorry about that. How do we test it? I don't think that's where I have to be looking at. Could Jason be an innocent? If Jason is an innocent, both Deborah and Noah are criminals, and because of Deborah, Amy is an innocent. Now Sue has to have one innocent neighbor somewhere, which we know couldn't be Maria. Or could it be? If it were Maria, Wanda and Xavier would have to be criminals. Yeah, and now there's no way for both columns to have the same number of criminals. So Maria would have to be a criminal. Could it be Wanda? Column C has 3 criminals. There's no way for column B to have 3 criminals. It has to have 4 because both Chloe and Isaac have to be criminals. Since Wanda is an innocent. So if Maria... Okay, so let's try with Xavier being an innocent. Nah, that breaks as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's no way for column B to have less criminals than column A. It's gonna have more. I think Jason couldn't be an innocent. We couldn't make a scenario where Jason is innocent and it works with these 2 columns having the same number. Ooh, I'm feeling tense. And that didn't give us any new clues? How? Why? What do I look at now? Either Noah. Now we're using multiple tags. Either Noah or Deborah are going to be an innocent, so I guess we're gonna have to rule out which one of them is the right one. Let's try Noam. Noah is an innocent, and Deborah has to be a criminal. Amy has to be an innocent. And now everybody down here has to be criminal, as well as Maria. And now Sue has to be an innocent as well. Because this column has to have less criminals than column A. So that's 1, 2, 3. Column A has 4. Now column B has to have the same number, so that's 3. 1, 2, 3. And they are here. And that works because these two could be innocents. Is that our total of innocents on the edges? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So this works. What about Deborah being the innocent? Now Noah is a criminal. And Amy is a criminal as well. Now column A has 5. So that's completely okay. Now we know that Maria couldn't be. Are we looking into Maria never being an innocent? And why do we know that Maria couldn't be an innocent in this case? She could. These two could be criminals. And then these two would have to be innocents. Yeah, but now column B has a different number of criminals than column C, even if Sue is innocent. That's 3, that's 2. So Maria couldn't be an innocent, she'd have to be a criminal, which make someone else here on the edge an innocent. Could it be Wanda? It could, if both Chloe and Isaac were criminals, but that breaks, or does it break the total? Not, this could work. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, this works. Could it be Xavi? Now it couldn't, because now Chloe would have to be an innocent. And that's 6 innocents on the edges. So are we looking at Xavi never being an innocent? Yeah. Because if Xavi is an innocent, let me just clear the text and try to prove that. If Xavi is an innocent, now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with Deborah or Amy. So neither Chloe or Wanda could ever be an innocent, because that would pass the total. And we know there has to be at least one innocent on the edge in column B. So Xavier has to be a criminal. Ooh. This is thrilling. Thrilling. What else? What else do we look at? Can I look at Maria then again? Let me try to make... Well, we couldn't make Maria an innocent. There's no way. Because if she is an innocent, column B is gonna have 3 innocents, Chloe, Isaac, and her. And there's no way for column C to have 3 innocents. Column C could have at most two innocents because there's gonna be one here, Deborah or Noah. Sue could only be the other one, that's Sue, so Maria has to be a criminal as well. I'm doing so good. Now Maria is telling us that only one cop has exactly 5 criminal neighbors. Interesting. Let me do colorful tags then. Anna, Sue, Noah. These are one or the other, these are one or the other, and these are one or the other. What about cops having 5 criminal neighbors? Could Noah have 5 criminal neighbors? He has 4 already. He could have Sue or Isaac as a 5th one. Hall has 2 so far, but he could have 5, could he? Let's say that Amy is a criminal and Isaac is a criminal and Chloe is a criminal. If Amy is a criminal, then we know that Deborah is an innocent, and if Chloe is a criminal, we know that Wanda is an innocent. That works because Sue could be a criminal. And then Noah, who is a cop, would have more than 5 criminal neighbors. Hall would have 5. And column A has 5 criminals, column B has 4. Column C could have 4 if Noah were a criminal, which he has to be. That works. So let's try to switch Chloe and Isaac to innocents and Wanda to criminal. Now Noah would have to be an innocent. And Deborah would have to be a criminal. Amy would have to be an innocent. Oh, Sue is a cop as well. I was completely ignoring that. That complicates things. But now Noah has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Except that these columns don't have the same number of criminals. Sue would have to be an innocent. And now no cops have 5 innocent neighbors. Noah has 1, 2, 3, 4. Sue has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sue has 5. So that works. Oh no, she has 6. Wanda is a criminal as well. Is it about criminals or is it a clue? Oh my god, I'm getting lost. Maria, only one cop has exactly 5 criminal neighbors. Yeah. So in this scenario, no one has 5 criminal neighbors. What does that mean? That Chloe and Isaac can be both innocents. But if I'm having trouble knowing who to look at. What about Wanda? Let me clear the tags again. If Wanda is an innocent, Noah has to be a criminal. Now Sue has 6 criminal neighbors. Both Isaac and Chloe have to be criminals, not innocents. Now Amy has to be a criminal because column B has 4 criminals. Deborah has to be an innocent. And because column B has 4 criminals, column C has to have 4 as well, so Sue has to be a criminal. Now Hall has 5 criminal neighbors. Does Noah have more than that? 3? 3 here, 6. Sue has more than that because she has 6 as well. So that works if Wanda is an innocent. Does it work if Chloe is the only innocent? Chloe? Wanda has Dan to be a criminal, which means that Noah has to be an innocent because of Sue. And because of Noah, Deborah has to be a criminal. And because of Deborah, Amy has to be an innocent. That breaks because Chloe can't. Chloe can't what? What am I trying to prove? What am I trying to prove? That's totally fine. If Isaac is... It doesn't matter. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that Isaac has to be an innocent now because of Amy. Column A has 4 criminal neighbors, criminal people only, so column A has to have 2 innocents, which means that Chloe and Isaac both have to be innocents. So we've proved already that this scenario doesn't work, both Chloe and Isaac being innocents, because now no cop has 5, right? Hall has 1, 2. Hall has only 2 criminal neighbors, right? Noah has 1, 2, 3, 4. Sue has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 with Wanda. So that doesn't work. Is that Chloe never being an innocent? Yeah, I think so. Ooh. Ah, that's so good. I know it's weird, but... And now everything solves itself. Kinda. Deborah has to be an innocent now. Amy has to be the criminal. And now I just gotta count how many of them are there. Sue has to be a criminal. Oof. How long was that? Almost 40 minutes. It was indeed evil, but I do hope you enjoy this. I'm sorry I did the video a bit later in the day because I knew this was hard, so I put it off for a while because it's Sunday. I wanted to enjoy my Sunday, but I also did enjoy the game, so thank you so much for watching. And yeah, I love the evil ones. They really do make you think about it and test every possible scenario. It's a really great brain workout, and I'll be back tomorrow with more Clues by Sam. So I'll see you then. Have a great week.